Coming up from the museum in Washington, D.C., it wasn't the best of years, but certainly not the worst either.
And now we're fighting the media and the airlines. Also, autonomous manned flying machines get closer to reality.
In an unusual landscape within range of your Cessna, we fly over Iceland. AOPA Live this week begins in just a moment.
Build and fly with the Sonex Aircraft B models. The B models offer more room and comfort, more fuel, more panel space, more engine choices, and the same great Sonex Aircraft flight characteristics. Learn more at sonexaircraft.com.
This is AOPA Live This Week with Tom Haynes and Melissa Rudinger.
The people who want to turn air traffic control over to an airline-dominated monopoly must really be getting desperate. They're feeding false information to the Wall Street Journal.
Hello and welcome to the museum in Washington, D.C. We're here for the annual State of the General Aviation Industry Report from the General Aviation Manufacturers Association. More on that in a moment.
But first, the dirty war over giving away air traffic control to a nonprofit monopoly. The latest salvo? A Wall Street Journal editorial that swallows the airline's propaganda hook, line, and sinker. The Journal accused AOPA and the National Business Aviation Association of waging a disinformation campaign.
And I think what we see is the airlines are trying to use any tack they can to seize control of the air traffic system. We're trying to put this back on the facts. And the facts are, this is a bad idea.
But the disinformation is in the Journal editorial. For example, congressional oversight of air traffic control would be transferred to a private board. The Journal wrongly says the airlines have one seat on the board. Actually, when you look at it, the groups that are closely aligned with the big airlines, the big airports, regional airlines, pilot unions, the airlines control a majority of the board. AOPA and NBAA have responded to the Wall Street Journal editorial to set the facts straight, but the Journal hasn't printed it yet. The bottom line to our response? The air traffic control proposal is all about airline control, plain and simple. And the battle is going to get fierce in the next few weeks.
We know that the FAA's current authorization is set to expire in March. So there is a real necessity to either extend the current authority or pass a new bill. Our expectation would be that the airlines and the proponents of this will make a major effort over the next week or two to try to get this on the floor in early March and get it passed before the current authorization expires. That's why everyone in the general aviation community needs to be active and engaged.
Stay tuned. Very shortly we'll be asking you to step up as you have before to help dissuade Congress from bowing to the airlines. But let's now look at something positive for the industry. You know, Melissa, some people say that general aviation is a lagging economic indicator, meaning the economy has to improve before general aviation activity improves.
2017 certainly proves that point. Here at the museum, the General Aviation Manufacturers Association presented its annual report to the industry and news media. And 2017 was an improvement over 2016.
Year can always be better, but I think we've turned the corner. We're not up in every segment, but if you look at the numbers, as far as units delivered, everything but turboprops was up. I think it was a positive year, and there's a good feeling within the industry that we have turned the corner.
Piston airplane shipments were up more than 6%, and Cirrus leads the pack, followed by Textron with its Beechcraft and Cessna pistons, then Diamond and Piper.
But it looks like 2017 may have been the last year for one piston single, the Cessna TTX. Cessna shipped 23 of the Speedsters last year, but apparently that wasn't enough to keep the TTX in production. The TTX has disappeared from the product line on Cessna's webpage. The rumors abound that it won't be built anymore. We've reached out to Cessna for confirmation, but haven't gotten a response yet. So it's a real shame about the TTX. It's really a very nice airplane. I've flown it in its various permutations over the years, from back when it was a Lancer product and then Columbia. Then it made its way to Cessna, and it just never found a home at Cessna. You know, it's a composite airplane. It's the only one in their piston fleet that's a composite airplane. It's a low wing. Not that that should matter, right?
No, that is a shame. That is a shame.
Yeah, but it's a really nice flying airplane too. Very pleasurable to fly with a side stick. Very modern panel. So it's a shame if, in fact, it's gone. It will be missed in the fleet.
Well, it'll make it more popular with the ones that are left.
Yeah, I hope so.
Meanwhile, the market for turbine-powered fixed-wing aircraft was a little flat. Total number shipped in 2017 was a little lower than the previous year, but a bright spot was the growth in the under 12,500 pound category. Rotorcraft sales are booming, both piston and turbine powered.
And 2017 was a pretty good year for avionics manufacturers, with sales up almost 3%. That's the first year-over-year increase since 2014. Most interesting, the retrofit avionics market was up some 20% and showed an increase in its percentage of total sales for the 5th straight year, recording an all-time high of more than $1.3 billion. Retrofit sales amounted to nearly 60% of that market, meaning more new avionics are going into existing aircraft than are being installed in new ones.
One Gamma member is venerable engine manufacturer Continental Motors. AOPA Senior Features Editor Julie Walker has the story of how Continental is bringing its manufacturing process into the 21st century.
From the Piper Cub to the Beechcraft Baron, Continental Motors has been powering the GA fleet for decades. The company has been here in Mobile, Alabama for more than 75 years, and not much has changed until now.
We're breaking ground this week on the Blue Marlin project. The Blue Marlin project is the code name for our new facility, where we are transforming aviation engines and bringing it into the latest technology for manufacturing.
Continental has been making engines one at a time in a manufacturing process that is dated and time-consuming.
We haven't been as efficient as we need to be going into the future. So while we've improved all of our technology, our manufacturing has been not as up to date.
The Continental plant sprawls across 11 different buildings, eating up nearly 500,000 square feet. Each engine has to be driven between those many buildings, no matter the weather in this Gulf location.
We're going to be getting to one building, and that's going to be about 275,000 square feet.
So why call it Blue Marlin?
Blue marlin is a strong sport fish, and we have a lot of fishermen in the area, so we like to have a little fun and use project code names that mean something to us on an individual basis.
Manufacturing will begin in the new factory here in 2019. Curious to see how your Continental engine was made? Stop by for a visit.
We love sharing what we do for people's engines here, so make your inquiry and we'd be happy to give you a tour of our facility.
Julie Walker, AOPA Live.
Wow, talk about a big modernization effort.
It is really big. It's great to see them making that investment in Mobile. The facilities they've had, I've been down there several times. You know, they've been around since World War II or thereabouts. And so it's going to be great for them to have a much more modern facility to work out and hopefully improve their efficiencies.
Very impressive.
And you can have the chance to tour the Continental factory later this year during our fly-in to Gulf Shores, Alabama. Check our website for the details of all the 2018 fly-in locations. When we come back, no pilot needed.
And flying to the land of fire and ice. AOPA Live this week continues after this.
There are many important things to consider before purchasing an aircraft. Let the experts at Aerospace Reports help guide you through the process. We combine expert knowledge with our long-standing commitment to personalized customer service to perfect your transaction. Learn more at aerospacereports.com.
Welcome back to the Newseum in Washington, D.C., where Gamma has just presented its annual State of the General Aviation Industry Report.
Well, Gamma doesn't yet have a category for passenger drones, but that may be coming. That's because the first passenger drone has just hit another milestone. EHang released a video showing the EHang 184 performing manned test flights. The company says it has flown around 40 passengers. The drone is autonomous, but will have the option of adding manual control. The current model holds a single passenger with plans to build a two-passenger version in the future.
Last week, AOPA convened the second meeting of its Airport Access Advisory Panel. The group, made up of pilots, FBO owners, and airport owners and managers, spent the day hearing about AOPA's progress in battling egregious FBO fees, especially at airports where chain-owned FBOs have a monopoly position. As a result of AOPA's work with the FAA, airport owners, and FBOs, numerous airports now offer free or low-cost parking and easy access that doesn't require access to FBO ramps. In other locations, fees have been reduced and lower-cost self-serve fuel is more widely available. The industry leaders have provided feedback and guidance on AOPA's continuing strategy to make GA airports accessible and cost-effective for general aviation pilots.
We learned this week about the sad closing of an era here at AOPA. Earl Blomeyer, the last of AOPA's charter members, died in Atlanta on February 8th. He was AOPA member number 242 and he was 102 years old. He joined the association on August 1st, 1939, only 3 months after the organization was formed at Wings Field outside of Philadelphia. AOPA presented him with a lifetime membership during our 75th anniversary celebration there in 2014. Thank you, Earl, for your 79 years of support. So you were there for the presentation, weren't you?
I was, and I met Earl. Very nice guy. He was in the wheelchair back in 2014, but super sharp, and we had a good conversation, and it's really the end of an era, like we said, the last of our charter members, as we are about to enter our 80th year next year.
Yeah.
So it's sad to see those guys go. He was a World War II vet,
wow.
And losing too many of those guys, too.
Well, like you, I've been here a couple of decades, and I've had the privilege of meeting quite a few of those members, so
right.
It is really sad.
It really is. Here's a caution for you. Be careful if you plan to fly north of the border. AOPA has confirmed reports of a 100 low lead shortage at a number of airports in Canada. There was a quality control problem at the only Canadian refinery producing avgas. However, most of the bad stuff has been recalled. But it's cool to fly even farther north to the land of fire and ice.
Iceland is surprisingly accessible by general aviation aircraft. In fact, flying low and slow is the best way to view many of the island's wonders. AOPA pilot editor-at-large Tom Horn recently took the trip.
Welcome to Iceland, where a seam in 2 tectonic plates lets lava run free, creating unforgettable landscapes. Like lava fields, volcanoes, both dormant and active, some of them topped with glaciers. Let's start in Reykjavik, Iceland's capital, where most of Iceland's 330,000 people live. It's picturesque and touristy. We visited in August, so it was a time of long days and warmish temperatures. Perfect for rambling around this very walkable city. There's the Lutheran Church, a checkpoint you certainly can't miss, one of many sidewalk restaurants, and lakes and parks right in the middle of town. But visitors head out of town, of course, where a ring road takes you around the circumference of the island. Along the way, you can pull over and see many of Iceland's waterfalls up close. Here's one that cuts right through solid volcanic rock. And here's one you can walk around behind to get a different perspective. You will get wet. The most famous waterfall is the Gullfoss, called the wildest in all of Europe. Thousands come here every year. And geysers? Yep, they're here as well. On the southern shore is a black sand beach, topped by cliffs and edged with volcanic basalt columns. The cliffs are a popular launch site for paragliders. Oh, that reminds me. Want to go flying? Yeah, me too. Flying clubs are popular in Iceland, and there are several of them at the Reykjavik airport. Here's one, the Geirfugl Flying School, which has a club also. You can rent a diamond, say, and fly with an instructor over some of the most surreal terrain ever. On one trip, we went to a fly-in at the Múlakat airstrip, where we caught up with Haraldur Diego, president of AOPA Iceland.
The pilot population in Iceland is quite high, and I think we have the world record for per capita licenses. We're celebrating our 70th anniversary this year as AOPA Iceland. The fly-in has been going on here for around 30 plus years. We got into this weekend because it's a long weekend, so we have a 3-day holiday. People go out camping in Iceland. Pilots come here.
We asked him what issues face general aviation in Iceland. We wondered if any airports face closures, an ongoing problem in the United States.
Currently, the majority of the city council in Reykjavik wants the airport gone. It's understandable that they want this precious land under land development. This is an airport we're talking about. You don't move an airport. You have to build another one. And right now, there is no one coughing up money to build a new airport.
On the bright side, AOPA Iceland has been central in radically lowering the cost of flying.
Because of our members' initiatives, we got it through the tax authorities that the laws were very clear. Gas used for airplanes should be exempt from road tax. So we get the road tax now reimbursed based on fuel receipts. We're flying for about $5 a gallon, and that is a major breakthrough compared to around $12 for the gallon for 100 LL aviation fuel.
And AOPA Iceland has also successfully managed regulatory issues that span European borders.
One of the things that happened was that EASA got a little eager in making regulations harder. So it was really hard for us to fly, even. And not only with airworthiness, but also certification and maintaining your proficiency. This is one of the reasons why it's very important for us to maintain our membership within International AOPA and work closely with them.
And finally, does Diego have any advice on what to expect should you fly in Iceland?
Expect weather and expect fun, because this is pretty much open airspace. We don't have any TFRs or restricted airspaces. Well, we have them, but they're not in your way of having fun.
So one thing's for sure, if you do come to Iceland to fly, you'll have the chance to see some amazing sights and meet some spirited enthusiasts advancing general aviation's cause, all while having the time of their life. Tom Horn, AOPA Live.
You can see more video from Iceland and other exciting destinations in the digital edition of the March issue of AOPA Pilot. So, unlike you, I've only flown in a few foreign countries, but Iceland's one of them, and what a lovely place to fly.
It is. I have been there, but I haven't flown GA airplanes in Iceland, but I sure saw a lot of them. I was impressed with the amount of general aviation activity there is in Iceland, which isn't, you wouldn't think that would be the hub of GA activity, but there was a lot going on when I was there last June, I guess it was.
So there is an AOPA Iceland, and that's actually who I did my flying with. There's a lot of activity.
Spectacular place to fly. And that does it for this week from Washington, D.C. Next week, we're back in the more safe and sane confines of our Frederick studio.
We hope you can join us again next Thursday for another edition of AOPA Live This Week.
Meet the pilots who fly with AOPA Insurance. They love flying and saving money, just like you. At AOPA Insurance, we understand how you fly and provide the coverage you need to keep on flying. Call for a free quote and see which AOPA insurance plan is right for you.